Ball Z. Nothing like getting two chimpanzees into a slap fight and then hurdling them off a cliff. I miss these games. There were so many in a short amount of years. But this one, it was so good because you had the Dragon universe. You could fly around, play the anime story, and explore the world, as well as collect Dragon Balls. And they, wait a minute. This is kind of a complex topic. It's not as easy as just saying, oh, I'm gonna copy and paste. Except in this example, because that's exactly what it is.
That's right. It's okay.
How on earth, wind, and fire could anyone get away with copying September? The only time a month was copied was when Augustus Caesar copied July. But many times you'll be playing a game and a song will kind of sound familiar, almost like you're getting rickrolled, except you actually are. Imagine you go and get inspired to make a song, and then 10 years later, on a technology you couldn't fathom existing, has it on there as a meme? But there are many layers to this. Inspiration, interpolation, sampling, and then full-on plagiarism. But the biggest question legally is, how can you tell? And, yeah. It's kind of a legal nightmare. Bobby Prince knew that. He was the composer of Doom. And his career prior to game composition also had to do with purging the world of demon spawns from hell. Litigation. I don't know if I should be afraid or impressed. All I know is, thank God he did not take from Marvin Gaye, cause that really makes it a blurred line. Actually, your favorite Game of Thrones star, Ed Sheeran, yeah, he's gotten a little bit of a spiff as well for thinking out loud, and let's get it on. So here's what was so damning. Wow, this is very telling. Except, one problem. You see this little guy? Yeah, he has the same keys on every type of him. Amazing. What do they want him to do? Invent a new key called H? The fact is, most music today is built upon the same building blocks. Like similar drum patterns or bass lines aren't exactly... Hey, what? I kind of made this to show the example of the Mario 64 drums, but it's kind of a bop. I don't know how I came up with it. It's like saying Madden 07's drums were stolen from Mario 64 boss battle. However, it gets even muddier with game music, and we have many different examples we can choose from. But today we'll ignore interpolation and sampling because we want to look at However, if there is one company I can trust with music, it's Nintendo. You know, I don't know what it is about Bayou Boogie, but something is in the air tonight. This doesn't even sound like I changed the audio. But we want to talk about Koji Kondo. Ever since I went into the room in Luigi's Mansion where you're trying to remember what songs from where, that's when I knew I don't know why this is one I knew, but it was a cool moment. If you are unfamiliar with him, he is the genius behind the sounds of Mario and Zelda. The Zelda theme is one that permeates your ear and transports you to open fields and submerged dungeons. But I bet you didn't know it was inspired from somewhere else. For this one, notice the chord progression. Oh. Wow. Yep, that's Zelda. It's just a chord progression, no dissimilar from the Ed Sheeran example, because even those are in different keys, but it's, The history is actually sort of cool. Koji Kondo got his start on the keyboard in a cover band, covering a bunch of 70s rock and roll songs, but also deep purple. But this sort of ascending note pattern, this itself is not plagiarism. But what's more interesting is you can tell the Zelda theme was inspired by this song, and that's sort of cooler to me. But what about the provably evil Mario? Where is this dirtbag sticking his ugly mitts? Why don't you launch the first Mario game and listen to that song? If gaming music could be a food, then this song would be an apple. In the 80s, Nintendo meant Mario. Mario meant games, and that's all the kids knew. I want a Nintendo, I want to play Mario, and this song would be the theme of that generation. And nothing can take that away from them. It's more like Brother Mario. Of course, the opening 3 notes of it's very convincing, but the songs on their own completely go in their own directions. But what I find more interesting is how Sister Marion seems to be a blueprint for how the Mario series would compose its music. It feels right at home. So if you like Mario music, go find J-pop of the early 80s and it is gonna be for you. This is furthered by the Starman theme. Now I've seen comparisons too. What's the buzz? Tell me even if you play. But all the more likely it's Piper's Summer Breeze. But just like the last castle in New Soup, no, we are not even close to finished. Next up, let me know if you've heard this one before. Of course, that's Super Mario World. Green, green, it's green they say, on the far side of the hill.
Where's that fucker?
Explain. On the surface, it's like, whoa, what? How the? But when you actually look at the history, it becomes far more interesting. 1963, the folk group The New Chrissy Minstrels land a hit with the song Green Green. But how did it get to Japan? Hikaru Kataoka. In 1967, he loved the song so much that he remade it, translated it, and produced the song for the broadcasting network NHK. On this channel, it had a program for children's music and nursery rhymes. And I think you can see where this is going. It established itself as a children's song in Japan. Even today, it's associated with children's media or a childhood vibe. It's nearly as universal as some nursery rhymes here in the Americas. Sort of like the song that plays in Five Nights at Freddy's? No! So all the more likely, putting it in Super Mario World was never meant to be met with shouts of plagiarism. It's sort of making a nod to a very popular children's song in Japan. Plus, the songs go in a completely different direction later anyways. So, like the sleeping piranha plant in Mario 64, we can let this one rest. So can I go? One of the most iconic songs in gaming's just complete. What are you talking about? I didn't trace anything. Don't you hate when you find out your faves aren't as original as you thought? First, David Wise, then Koji Kondo, then Mozart. What? And that's the thing. Context is extremely important. In the classical age, these sorts of tributes were all to be expected. Borrowing from another's work, it was not plagiarism. People knew you were taking it from them. But a new age example of the same thing would be a song with the same historical influence. Not this guy! Oh! This is epic! Oh! This is is like getting your favorite character in Smash if your favorite character is. Let me take you back to 2008. You had important videos you needed to edit, but how? You had no software. What do? Only go to youtube.com and find a legitimate notepad tutorial filmed with unregistered hypercam with the ambiance of Blow Me Away. Sony Vegas could be downloaded, sure, but you needed a product key to activate it. Which brings us to... Pretty impressive that Toby stole a song that's used to steal a program that's for a character that tries to steal your soul. This isn't the only time Toby's done this, though. But these have always been kind of like the Mozart example, and we appreciate that. It's a nice nod. I don't know why we're hanging on this footage of Final Fantasy for so long. Oh my god! Who would think? Such an important PS1 game, a landmark title! God, it's just kind of a shame when you see games that why is there Metal Gear on the screen? What? Don't. Stop. No. No! Oh my god! Yeah, these are more, plagiarizing. And I'm just sort of shocked. I never knew these. These ones are actually kind of a disappointment. Okay, no, I don't really care about that one. Anyways, did you know this game is called Doki Doki Panic in Japan? Just get it over with. We've seen many examples today, ranging from inspiration, taking the first few starting notes, genre stylings, copying a bass line, a drum, or... But here's something we haven't seen. All of these examples in one game.
The boys wants the girls while the girls wants the boys who wants the girls.
Maybe. Yeah, sure, alright.
Oh yes.
What the fuck? One more and I get a free coffee. Again, inspiration, coincidence, or plagiarism. It's very hard to tell, even legally, which is why a lot of this sort of gets a pass and it's never really talked about. But there is something that has always been talked about.
Jam, here comes the man.
It's no secret nowadays that Michael Jackson had a brief involvement with the soundtrack of Sonic 3. Nobody is sure exactly what capacity this existed in, but here's what's confirmed. Either Sega backed off because of, or Michael himself actually just didn't like the sound of. But here's what we do know. These composers for Sonic were brought on after the game to be involved in MJ's next released album. Specifically, one of Sonic 3's main contributors, Brad Buxer. And it pretty much seals it. Ice Cap Zone, everyone for years always said, but actually, it was taken from a song Buxer worked on in 1982 for a song by the Jetsons. It's called Hard Times. This one is blatant, but it's sort of different. Buxer maybe thought this would never see the light of day, so he's just like, give it to the dumb rat thing. And so he spanked it in this game like a Sonic and Knuckles cartridge. The rest aren't so blatant or clear. But we can find some examples that are very clearly MJ. While the drums on the Knuckles theme, it's very similar to Blood on the Dance Floor. In conclusion, why the hell does it always lead back to Sonic? If I missed any, please leave them down below. There are a lot of songs that sound similar to pop songs, and it's always intriguing when you find them. And I know there is one I haven't talked about. You know what, I think we can all agree. Examples like really suck for the artistic integrity of it all. They're extremely egregious, but at least in this case, he only did it once.
How much more zoom could you do? Like, how many songs are there?